Go ahead.
Yeah, when I'm say record. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm not familiar with this. All right, so welcome, guys. I just wanted to just step in to see practice leadership skills to do. So I just reached out to you to ask you guys if it was okay for me to, or I would like to lead this one. All right, so thank you. I think this is the final. What was that, Robbie?
No problem.
Thank you. Yes. So we're on to our final for the APPSL. So we're doing the case study 1, and this is our agenda. We will just do a quick introduction and reflect on the APPSL that we just did. And I know Evan not here yet. I'm sure he'll join us later on. And then we're going to do a scholarly discussion based on these 4 questions, and I will guide you along. And then we're just going to wrap up and conclude our meeting. All right. So thanks again for coming, Latasha, Robbie, Evan will be here, and Shalise and myself. Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask anyone who would like to start off with their introduction and just a quick reflection of overall what you learned from the APPSL, moving forward to the APPSL.
Well,
Okay.
go ahead.
You want to? Okay. Well, I'm Shalise Wine. I teach at Keenan High School in Columbia, South Carolina. So a little bit about the APPSL. I like the fact, especially now knowing that, okay, going from the APPSL, I know we're about to go into the APPSL, but looking at the APPSL, I was more related to it because it was more of what the students, I'm used to dealing with more students, and dealing with their improvement in my classroom and stuff like that. So I think looking at the 2 and saying, okay, now I got to really put on a different hat and really say, okay, I'm dealing with adults now and not the improvement of the kids. That's going to be a bit of a changer for me. So just looking back and reflecting on that was different. It's different for me.
Thank you for sharing. Yes. Anybody want to kind of chime into what Shalise said?
Yeah, I'm Tasha Henry Pugh, and I'm at Sumter High School in Sumter, South Carolina. And let me find my mic to turn it down. Can you still hear me?
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that was kind of like a shocker to me when I pulled up the APPSL template, and I saw that it was I think the template itself was 34 pages, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then when I finished my APPSL, it was 84 pages, and I was like, I did that. I can't believe I did that. So one of the things that I like is how we were able to take it piece by piece and put it together and then make the connections. And one of the things that one of the parts that I'm liking the most now is because I have football duty for clinicals. I don't know if I told y'all that,
Yeah.
and I hate it.
Yeah.
I asked for it. But one of the things that I'm liking now is the part where we actually had to go through the 21 competencies at the end, and we had to do the reflection and stuff like that, because I'm seeing how those competencies, even though they're from North Carolina, how they relate to all schools.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then developing a leader and having to go through and experience all the different aspects of being a school administrator.
Yes.
And looking at it from and just like you say, Charlize, having to flip that switch, and not even looking at it from a teacher perspective, but looking at it more from an administrator's perspective. Even last night, we were in the middle of class, and I'm here because my son plays football, but I don't have football duty on the days that we have class. In the middle of class, there was this huge traffic jam in the back of the school by the gym, and I wanted to jump out the car and go direct traffic and direct the kids and stuff. And then I was like, no, I can't do it.
That's supportive you. Yeah.
That more comfortable with owning that role and participating.
Yeah, that was nice of you to have that thought process to say, you know what, I could do that, if I wanted to do that. Yes. Right. Robbie, you wanted to say something, Robbie? All right, so we're gonna continue. Yes, we're gonna continue until he gets back in. Yes, for me, it was a really an eye opener. I'm gonna agree with both of you that this kind of laid the foundation for moving forward as we become, school leaders, as you said. One thing I really liked about it, Shalice and you said, this helped us to, be, owning our own craft with the students. And now that we're better with the students, I think that can we get more confidence. We build some more confidence so we can help, to be bolder dealing with adults because some adults are not easy to deal with. So I was kind of shy away with certain things, but then
Me
you
too.
doing the 12 competency, I was a little bit bolder in some of them. I'm still need some areas of improvement and experience in the 12 that I wrote about, but I think it kind of led me to kind of be a little bit more open, be firm, and be fair with all the other, because I'm a people person at my school, and they know me a whole lot at my school and everything, and so on. So one of the things is like I have to be firm and fair and say, not because you're my friend, but
Right.
lay down the rules when I become a real, a future principal and so on. So that was kind of say, kind of differentiate what I need to do, as you said, wear that hat to say I'm a leader now. I can't think like, my peers or, or a teacher. So that was kind of good for us.
So you really kind of um saw in the scenario, you kind of was like, okay, I see what I can really tell in the scenario. This is really how it feels in the scenario, how this
Yeah,
guy feels.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah. I
Mhm.
bet that's. I mean, when I was reading, I was like, okay, that probably is something difficult to deal with.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that was one thing I was kind of saying, oh my God, I need to make sure different, I lay the law down and make sure this is done. Yes, so that's true. Yes, so I agree with that. All right, so we're going to do a scholarly discussion. This is where we can bring back all the things that we've learned from task 1 to task 5 and just chime in on any of the resources that we did. I like this case study. When I read it, I said, I wonder if I could really lead this one because I really liked it. I think it kind of reminds me right now at our school, we have some new things going on. We are assistant principal. Last year, she got the position, and because of COVID-19, she's coming from a magnet coordinator. And then our regular principal, male that was there, he went to the county. So we have a new lady from the county who came in. So both of them are pretty new. So they kind of remind me um, of Carmichael. So that's why I wanted to kind of, kind of say, let me just chime in and kind of lead this and so on. So here's the first question. All right. What do you think of the way James handled his particular situation, considering his limited background? So we all know that he was a PE teacher, and
Right.
then he had so many support, and everybody wanted him to be that principal, and he did try out for the job, and they gave him the position because of all the support that he was getting from the school and everything. So what do you think? How could he have handled it, considering his limited background? Do you think he was good? Do you think that he could have done a lot more? And then we can maybe just chime in into each other. Go ahead.
I think that he did a great job given the situation, in the circumstance, because he was inheriting a school that was not performing well. And as a principal who wants to, and nobody wanted to work there, and who wants to get a school that's not up to par, and then to hear from the leaders that were above him, like at the district level, to say, hey, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, and we're going to give you this, but it's not going to work and everything. And then for him to know that, accept that, and then go into the school. But one of the things that I like that he really did was he let everybody in the school that had us, all the stakeholders, know what the problem was, and he was receptive to receive their feedback so that way that they could tackle the problem together. And it reminded me of all the research that we did with DeFore and forming PLC, the professional learning communities and stuff like that. So it's like he actually went through the steps and he really formed a school PLC.
Yes, I
Not
want
to
to
attack
agree
the
with you.
problem.
Yes, I agree with you to a lot of extent and so on. Yes, he did a great job expressing himself to the staff that here we go, here is the reading data. We know that the school not doing well with reading. The only thing is that although, oh, somebody wants me to admit them, so I'll go ahead. Give me a minute there. Yes,
Okay.
yes. So although the person is gone, there's not, I don't see them anymore. So I hope they try to come back in. Okay, yeah.
I liked it too. The only thing I thought that could be kind of different. So yes, he was honest about his expertise. Of course, everybody already knew he didn't have the expertise with it, right? Everybody knew it, but and I believe that being honest and being transparent is exactly what they need. He took constructive criticism from the staff well, but I kind of think he probably should have come in with some type of plan, though.
Yes,
Like
I agree.
yeah, I
I
believe he
agree
should have
with you.
came in and formulated some type of plan as a leader prior to speaking with the staff too. Like
Yes,
I
He
feel
tried to make
like
his
he
friendship,
should
but
have.
him as
And
a friend, so the friendship didn't work so much. This is Robbie.
hey, Robbie.
hi, Robbie.
Got knocked out just now, but when he came in, like you said, he should have had a plan. He came in as a friend, and a lot of them
Right.
kind of knew that and played on that, and they knew how to play him. So it really wasn't that strong of a leadership from that point of view.
Yes, I
Right.
agree with you. Yes. Although he got all the stakeholders involved, I thought he maybe could have just narrowed it down to a more professional level in terms of forming a real PLC. Come in your staff meeting and said, staff, we know that this is going to be different. I would wish that we, form our grade level PLCs where we can really tackle the problem. So it was good overall, but there were some areas that needed a lot of improvement. Is this
Yes.
um
Guys, because I would in my mind I'm thinking like if this happened, he got this plan and then he had to start. I mean, he got this assignment. Would he act and then he had no prior knowledge, and how would he have known to formulate a plan? So I think that it was good that he was able to get input from the staff. Sorry, that he was able to get input from the staff regarding what the problem was because it was not his area of expertise. That's just my take on it. And then maybe once he got their input, then as that leader, step up and come up with a plan. Because in the end, it worked out because the scores did go up.
yes, and
Right. But I think
go
yeah,
ahead.
I think they put him in the right. They somebody gave him someone to guide, yes, but even the person that told him, hey, listen, it's gonna be difficult. I felt like they could have given him somebody, a mentor or something like that, instead of him, and then that way he would have known to have a plan.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree with that point because I said something like that for question two that um, the county should have provided a mentor for him or a group of principals that that had that success. Their schools were low and then they worked their way up. So I thought that instead of just telling him, we know this is going to be difficult and the reading scores are hard and and this and this and that, they should have said, we're going to work with you. We're going to provide these resources for you, just like us. When we did our task two, we gathered our data, we decide in task three, we put everything together, and then we present it to our principal by saying, this is what we found out. So in a sense, I still agree with him that yes, he got them involved, but then he should have said, you know what are some other ways that we could improve these scores instead of just saying, I'm meeting with the reading literacy coach and so on. So again, I'm kind of twofold, like 50-50 with some of the things I'm in agreement with him, and then some other things that I'm not in agreement with.
Right.
Hi, Rob. Who is that? Evan, how are you? Are you here, Evan?
Yes.
Yes, I've been trying to get in for the past 10 minutes. I know I
Oh,
lost
so sorry. I did
devices.
not see that. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. We're
I've
still at
been
number one.
waiting. I try. Excuse me?
Sorry, we're on number one. Say, what do you think of
Okay.
the way James handles this situation, particular situation, considering his limited background?
Uh, James actually kind of reminded me of myself in a sense, like from the first part of the narrative. But I think he handled it well. He was open and honest with his staff to where they were as a school or where they were at as a school. in the area of the most pressing need, which was reading. After talking to the superintendent, of course, but he used his resources, reading coach, and her expertise to tackle the problem and educated himself through walkthroughs and professional development. So I think he, handled it well for him being a first-time administrator, but he kind of got a little bit of tunnel vision with it overall. So, at the end, it was saying that they wanted to, address the science, math, as well as the social studies. So, for his first time out, I feel like he used the people that he had, used the resources that he had. Didn't see, I could probably go to the other questions before I start talking about, all of them together at once.
Yes, that's a great idea. He did use his resources and so on, and that was great. We're gonna move on to number two. And sorry again for not letting you in. I did not know
No,
that.
that's okay.
I don't know Zoom, so I'm my
Yeah,
bad. I don't know
that's
that somebody was waiting in the room for me to let them in. I'm a Google
okay.
person, so I'm my bad. Hopefully, if I get a chance the next time, I will make sure I look for that. So sorry
No,
for
it's
both
okay.
of you.
It's okay.
Yeah, so for B, it says, what more could be done to help the reading scores in this school? So what more could be done? So again, anybody can chime in and then we can add to agree to disagree. Go ahead.
For me, I think that they could bring in some outside resources. I mean, what you're using so far hadn't really worked so well, and some outside resources would have played a better part in bringing some fresh ideas in.
I
I
say
agree.
add technology. You can add some technology in there.
It was a little vague as to how they actually improved the scores. They didn't have any numbers, any data, it just said that
Right. I said
they
that.
had went up. Like, so it kind of got a little bit short at the end, and it seemed like everything was happy-go-lucky. Like, they went up and everything, but didn't identify what the children actually, did poorly on in order to, get them to proficiency. So, I mean, supplemental reading programs or any type of technology-based programs that will allow them to further their understanding and, reading literacy as well as fluency within reading could have been, a little bit elaborated upon, but, at least they did improve. I just didn't know how, as far as numbers, I'm a numbers guy, just like probably Robbie is. It probably would have helped a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I agree too. I said they could get successful principals and teachers in the district to come in and help those schools. I've heard about other cases at my charter school that I was at. Our reading scores were low, and what we did, we got outside resources. We got people from the community to come in and do some tutoring. We know that high school students and college students need hours sometimes, so maybe we could reach out to the community members to kind of see who would need those hours and let them come in and do some, basic.
Exactly.
As you said, I think it was Uben that says for a school to be effective, we have to look at all the subgroups. I think I mentioned that the last time. And what he could have done is, met in the PLC or even a school PLC by saying, teachers, these are the data that we have. We know the ESL kids, we know the Hispanic kids, we know the whites, we know the blacks. These are some areas. So just like what we did in, I think was that in task 2 of our APPSL, where we really look at the data carefully, disaggregate the data, analyze it and say, you know what, these are some groups that maybe need some more help. This group is okay. Maybe we might not focus on this group. So I
Yeah.
think doing that could even improve the scores more. Anybody else want to
And I
add?
was on the
Yeah.
using like the community, because it seemed like he wasn't getting any support, so he had to look to what is readily available. And like I've seen schools, and I'm assuming that it was an elementary school, that they use like volunteers and stuff to come in. They establish like grandparent programs where they can come in and read to the kids and read with the kids and stuff. And that will also free up teachers as well, because we all have these time constraints. Lower level readers would have a buddy or
Yes.
something like that. I said the same thing, like the utilize volunteers and people from the community, and even retired teachers in the community,
Yes.
that have that knowledge base that could come back in and help.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was Robbie or Evan. Which one of you had in your assignment the program where you're gonna reward? Can you talk on that? Whichever one of you have that,
Robbie.
Robbie, that you have the
Can
reward
you hear me?
game. Can you talk more about that? And then we can chime
Yes.
in to say yes.
Took the idea from my old high school that I work at and actually use it now in my classroom for my math scores. It's just a tier that I also use my SLO. They got to gain so much points on their RIT score. It's like for every 2 or 3 points they gain, I give them some type of prize because you only test it 3 times a year. So it's just like popcorn or something. It gives them an incentive, something to work towards. And
Yes.
it actually works. The kids see a goal. It's like they carrot. They see the carrot and they're going to get it. So it works.
Yes, I said something like that. Incentives, providing incentives for students. And this is where we can do that program that you were talking about, the amount of points you earn, then you get this. I would want to say he's strong at PE, but it never said throughout the whole essay that he utilized his strength. Meaning he could have said, guys, I know the kids love the PE too. They love the recess, they love going to his class. So maybe he could have said, like have a devotion with the kids or a meeting with the kids and said, kids, not just the teachers alone to inform them, but to inform the students by saying, students, we're going to work on our reading. And if you get this amount of points, or if you're in this type of tier, you can earn extra recess or extra PE, or you can watch movies or popcorn party or things like that. I thought he would have maybe utilized this P, or you get to come and do PE with me as the principal because you like my class when I was the PE teacher. So things like that, I thought he would have utilized.
Yeah, like a field day or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a culmination
I did think
reward.
he had some support because Clarice, the reading coach, brought in or kind of helped to get the community involved, which was one of the just one of our competencies is what I wrote. When I read, I write notes to the side, and so I was reading that, and he was talking about getting vendors and reading materials and storybooks. So I think he kind of had some support. I think they had some support from the community, especially toward the end with Clarice's help.
Yes, that reminds me of what was that? Was that task 3? That's the one where you really look at the data, and then but then even if they couldn't even if they couldn't purchase the reading program, there's a lot of free ones online that they could have utilized. Because in task 3, I know my county bought the ice station for us, but then we're using other free resources like the Florida resources, reading resources website. We're also using another free, I don't remember that one. Is that A to Z? They have a free version of it.
Yeah.
So, right. So he could have done that by saying, we don't have the budget, but teachers, that's where all the teachers could have come together and say, that's where the PLT would really make a sense. This is where you're going to collaborate. Let the teachers come together with the ideas, like what we did with our PLCs, and then say, you come up with that idea for your grade level, you come up with that, and then maybe we could do a school-wide thing.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to
They
talk in?
definitely had they definitely had the regular meetings as PLC, and that the reading coach came as advisor. They was talking and I just remember jotting to the side PLC the importance of collaboration
Yes.
right there. So I think that was a big part of this, and of course we saw that in the app set.
They never said PLC.
They never said it. And toward the end, when they started talking about well, it's not just reading. We want to look at math and other things. Remember, with the PLC, it's not just what you're doing right now. It's a continuous
The
thing.
ongoing process. Yes, I
Right.
agree with you. Yes.
And that's what I said too. And I think somebody already said it as well.
Right.
And I guess this is kind of jumping ahead to like the D part, but I was saying like he could have, he worked with the teachers that specifically in the reading, he could have done the same thing in the other content areas to identify the same problems, establish goals and action plans, and then they could have been working on them, if not simultaneously, it would
Exactly.
not have had to take years, because it said years. We don't know how many years
Yes,
before they started working on the other areas.
I agree.
Exactly. Because when you do a reading brings up your like science and social studies scores and all that. Because all that's based on
Everything.
reading.
Right.
And you
Exactly.
just have to bring in somebody from math to help that part. But the overall reading, that should help increase all the scores, except maybe
Exactly.
math just a little bit.
I
Man, you got word problems and things of that nature, but I mean everything could
Yeah.
have paralleled one another, especially reading and math. They definitely parallel each other. You know, science and social studies. I know they kind of get left behind is a little bit more than the front two that they press more, meaning math and reading. But both of those could have easily paralleled each other, working with the math coach as well as the reading coach at the same time to ultimately bring scores up on both levels. But you know, it's all inclusive. Every core subject, you know, could parallel each other in order to improve,
yeah.
or you know,
You know,
necessarily mirror each other.
at schools I worked at, we paired the science and the math teachers together,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
English and the reading. And you know, like you said, they work hand in hand. While you're
So
improving one score,
yeah,
you're
like
improving all scores. Yes.
Because
Yeah.
my only question was, is something that they didn't speak to. They said that they improved the kids' reading, but we don't know. It improved their reading, but were they comprehending what they read?
Yes,
yeah,
Because
that was
we have
good.
students they can
yeah.
read, but they
Were they
can't
on
tell
grade
you
level
or
and
explain what it is
that?
that they read.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I said something like that too, was to integrate reading into all the subject areas while they're doing that reading program. So not just focus on like the schedule. I did mention something about the schedule that he had to be proactive when he made that schedule for the daily activities, making sure that reading is done in science, make sure it's done in math, make sure it's done, as you said, somebody just said the word problem. So I'm in total agreement what you guys said. All right, what about 3? What additional resources could James utilize to help the school improve? And we have been saying some of those things already. So if you guys want to add anything else to it, that's fine. So what could be some other? I know that for my school, my previous school, we kind of invited our PTA, is that the right thing? Parent Teacher Association. Yes,
Yeah,
so they got involved in it too. And that again, go back to before again, with the not just teachers alone, but all stakeholders, community members, board, everybody involved. So for me, I would get the PTA members involved. They liked him. The article says that they liked him and everything. So what about the parents? Could maybe do some emphasis. Put some things out for, put maybe their newsletters out and said, teachers, this week we're working on this. Parents, we're working on this, or don't forget we're reading tonight. Don't forget to come to this reading workshop. Put those things out, or even get resources. Ask for volunteers to maybe get books in. Because I remember at my now school, the PTA would donate books to our kids, and then we pass them out to the different classes.
And sometimes they have like programs as well. Like but they don't last a long time. But they could have done research for it, because like Success by Six. I remember as a parent, you register your child, and for the first 6 years of their life, they got a book once a month
Wow.
between 1 to 5 to encourage reading in the homes and stuff like that. And it I think it was through like a partnership with Dolly Parton's
Yeah.
foundation. It may not be around anymore, but they could have researched to find like other avenues and stuff like that to work with. And if they had a local library, like they also have like, library already always has activities and stuff going on. They could have partnered with the library as well.
I agree.
yeah. Yeah, I echo what Tamara was saying. Like that's what really pretty much what I had down as well. But I was thinking about using the resources which you have within the district, like vertical PLCs between other English teachers or ELA teachers, to see what they're doing exactly in their classrooms in order to bring up their test scores within their building, and just use them as a resource as well to maybe even mirror certain things that they're doing, and then do similar things at your school. But that's the only other thing I had to add to that.
Yeah, anybody else want to add anything? Anybody else want to chime in? I also mentioned utilize and model, utilize effective teachers in the building. I'm sure there might be few teachers that are effective in the building, that they could maybe do walkthrough. We learned about the walkthrough, where teachers could do walkthrough or observation or peers. Somebody just said, I think who was that? Robbie, you said pairing the science with the social study. Wait, science with the math teacher.
Yes.
Pair. So I may be strong I might be weak. So I get paired with another teacher on my grade level. So we're learning from each other too, and so on, so that my results can improve just as I'm the effective teacher.
This is one thing that we do in our district. Like I'm at the middle school. We would actually get together with the high school teachers and see what they expect, and that made us improve our rigor a little bit and bring everything up. Then like the elementary teachers would come and talk to us, to the middle school, and we would tell them what we'd expected, and that kind of made them increase their rigor some. So by the time the kids transitions through,
Yeah,
they were almost up to speed.
exactly.
Another thing too is maybe he could maybe just take on the initiative to maybe reach out to other principals that are successful, as I said before, and maybe just kind of let them come to his school and maybe do some training, some professional development training with the teachers,
Right.
going through stuff. Yeah. So I said something like that on my paper, in my writing.
Yeah, I added principals and having a mentor. Yeah, I added that on there on mine.
Anybody else want to say anything else before we move on to the last question?
Because they never said that rather he received any kind of formal training to be a principal. They just selected him and he got the job. So he kind of was put in like a between a rock and a hard place.
I thought they mentioned he was going through a certification process.
Okay, okay.
I think they said that. Yeah, I think they did say that.
Okay.
It was kind of like similar to what we're doing.
All right, I was just gonna
Right.
say that might be even us in the spring. You might never know that when we just step in and get. So we have to maybe make sure that in our P's and Q's, that we're in for the hallway. That's one thing I like about him.
Yeah.
He went all the way out, regardless of the limited of resources and so on. He still tried.
Yeah.
And utilize whatever he had. I know he could have done a lot more. I know we learned the 21. The judgment was one of the key one, but I think he could have made a lot more judgment in terms of being the leader. But that was one thing that stick out for me. That he could have done a
But
lot
he did.
decision making on his part. Yeah.
Yeah, and it did say that he had administrative certification. So yeah, it said James had been an administrative assistant in order to obtain his state supervision and administrative certification. Yeah, he did.
But don't you think like a new principal or assistant principal, they will still provide some form of support to kind of see what's going on? But they haven't said that part.
I don't think everybody does though. Like, I just don't think everybody does.
Okay, yeah. Some school district might not. Yes, so yes.
Right.
That's true. All right, what could he be sacrificing? And somebody touched on that already. If anything, by placing an extraordinary emphasis only on the reading program, what is it that he could have give up or not give up? Yeah.
The most pressing need. Like we had to sit there and we had to decide what the most pressing need was. And then at my school, at first they were saying that it was math, but then when we looked at the data said it was reading and English. You know what I mean? So that may be something that he may be sacrificing at the very beginning. Is what is that most pressing need? Without looking at the data, do you really know?
It's going off of what the superintendent and what the past has told him. So, like,
Right.
maybe that was the most pressing need reading, but just like it's, you didn't tell us anything about data. Didn't tell us how it, went up, went down. It just said ultimately that it did go up, but ultimately he's sacrificing every other subject, even the elective courses within the school, and and the betterment of them. But he tackled one problem. At least it's like he mastered, or it seemed like he got through that one issue, but ultimately math and science and social studies seemed like it was left left to be, like it was already
Yes.
had proficiency in each of those areas, so therefore it might have regressed at that point in time. You never know.
I was just about to agree with you. Actually, when you start pushing the reading and everything, even though the math and sciences, like you say, might was stable, when you start pushing too much in one area, those scores gonna go down because the kids aren't really focused.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I also agree. I think the reading too was kind of broad because maybe that's where he would come, in smaller groups, in smaller greater fields, and figure out, yes, we know it was reading like us. I did reading, but my focus was reading comprehension. And I've read other people, seen other people where they focus on fluency, where they
Yeah.
focus on a skill. In this case, it was just overall reading with not knowing what aspect of the reading. So that was kind of vague to me to kind of see what area do we need to spend the program, whatever program or.
We're gonna go inside and get our food. We're gonna get one and split a pizza, split one. Get two slice pizzas.
That's okay.
Because I'm hungry. I'm still at work.
Yes. So yeah. So what areas do we need? Yeah. What areas do we need to focus on? So that was my little thing. Sacrifice. Yes. Going through and kind of give up. But I did say that maybe he could really schedule the time, like sacrifice, put in more time into reading. So what if the reading was just like only 1 hour? I know in my county, we have 2 hours of reading every day because we have whole group for that 1 hour, and then we split that next 30 minutes of independent reading. Now online, our kids have on virtual learning. I think we have 1.5 hours of reading. So that's where they could do like skills, building skills, and teachers coming in to push in or pull out kids and so on. So maybe they could sacrifice some of the time of other subject areas and maybe add a little bit more reading time if that could help them.
Yes, ma'am.
I think he also sacrificed some of his other teacher leaders too. Like we said previously, like maybe they would focus all, they just like I think you said, Evan, he had tunnel vision. But what about the other teacher leaders in the building?
Yeah.
He was a leader, and I'm pretty sure as they were going through this process, more leaders should have emerged. He could have allowed them to step into some leadership roles to attack some of the other issues and that they're having in some of the other content areas.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and not just the reading. Yeah, not just the reading literacy. Yeah, all the teacher. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's like some of the relationships he might have sacrificed in the process one way or another, because it didn't. It said he used the reading coach a lot and everything of that nature, but it didn't seem like he had enough of. It didn't let you know if he had enough of the classroom teacher's opinion, or how much each in the Tamara talked about demographics and stuff like that, and the breakdown of each individual classroom and even each individual culture or each individual group of gender-based whatever. Like it just didn't seem like he utilized every resource he had. He utilized his strongest resource, but it just was a little vague on the use. And you provide efficacy within people, or you build efficacy within your school and collective efficacy as a whole, simply by involving people and making them, even if they're not as intricate as somebody else, making them feel as if they are that. And it's just their teachers and stuff can be just like kids at times. You need to just build them up and make sure that they're in a good mindset set and feel involved in the process, and in order to promote growth within them as individuals and within your school as a whole.
Let them feel involved.
Yes. Yes. One thing, yeah, if the school culture is not good, then performance on a whole will diminish and not gonna grow. So I agree with you by saying that, we as a principal, dealing with the efficacy, group efficacy, collective efficacy, or self, that has to work first in order for school improvement to work throughout the building. So I agree with you. One other thing thing I thought of too was maybe sacrificing some of those staff meetings and really dive into some data dives. 1 week, maybe he could schedule those staff meetings. At 1 week, we're gonna look at this. 1 week, you can bring resources that is working for you. 1 week, another group of teachers can model. So I don't know if just sacrificing some of the time that they're meeting to focus on data. It didn't sound like they were data driven. And again, Duffer, one of his main three big idea is result oriented. I know they made growth and I know that the scores were improved over a period of time. But what if these things could have been put in place where, yeah, they're data driven. I know that we're looking at teachers are doing common planning time, all those things they could have involved in it. Common planning time, looking at the data and kind of see going back, adjust and making sure that, the kids are getting what they need in order to improve.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Kind of reminded me of what you told me, Charlize, and my task. Remember when you told me like I had to step outside my comfort zone and attack the other areas outside of my content area? And even though this was outside his content area, it's just like he just got in this, just like you said, just one little mold, and then just did not look at, the other pieces of the picture.
Yeah.
And then when a school looks good, it's been my experience. If all of us are in the school, if Evan looks good, Shalisa looks good, Tamara looks good, Robbie looks good, and the school is going to look good. And so when the school starts looking good, usually it's been my experience, when schools start to strive and do well, then that's when people start to get promoted and taken out and sent different places. And because as the individual grows, the schools grow as well and they improve. So that's something too that he may have sacrificed, like individual growth with teacher advocacy and growing his teacher leaders.
Yes.
Right.
Anything else want to wrap up? So to wrap up, what are our final thoughts? What would be our final thoughts just to wrap up?
I think it's a good case study just to be able to say, okay, this is maybe something that we may end up going through. Something that we need to look at. I actually love being able to talk to other people about it because it's some things that I really didn't think about. Just like Latasha just said at the end, he may have been sacrificing some individual growth, which I didn't think about. That's something I didn't think about. But yeah.
I was just so happy he turned the school around. Just like you guys said, I didn't even think about there was no data. We did not get any demographic background of the school or the kids or anything like that. So there's some of the things that you all have said, it's caused me to, think about it again as well.
I thought it was a great possible representation of who we are and something that we could go through. It's like no matter what we do as classroom teachers at this point in time, or as leaders within our school, or possible administrators at one point in time, everything is about growing. So as long as we grow ourselves and grow our school, and he was put in a pretty good situation. The people at the school knew him, so they had some trust in him, so they could work together and build together. But ultimately, he might have, sacrificed the growing of individual teachers throughout the class, throughout the school, as well as the whole school, by just, zeroing in on one particular issue and not addressing every other issue at that point in time. But within his first year or his first, few years, it seemed like it was a few years that it ultimately they just focused on reading. If it's like in the last couple of sentences, it seemed like it took a couple of years in order for them to truly grow. So, if he was just still focused on reading in year 3 or 4 or something like that, and he didn't address any other things, then ultimately he definitely needed to reflect and look back and be like, hold up, there's more to this school thing than just one particular subject. But definitely a position that we could be put in as as future administrators, simply because the school that you're at, sometimes that's the school that ultimately will choose you to lead them in the future. So.
Yeah, I agreed. Robbie, are you there?
Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm back.
Yeah, do you want to wrap up?
Like I said, he was put in a position that he had to grow and learn and show. Like I said, he started off with a vision, but that tunnel vision kind of overtook everything. And like now, in this modern age, now you have a lot of young teachers that you can't stifle their growth. I believe if he would let some of them grow and show him some of the things that they might have been doing, you know, the overall programs would have grown, not just the reading program. So you can't, just lead with one direction. You have to let others help you lead.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yes, for me too, I saw that he did so many of the competencies out of the 21, and there were room for improvement. I know he was in that position, he was put in that position maybe with a little bit of experience, but then he used the resources that he had. But however, there was a tunnel vision at the end by saying, just zeroing in on one group of people and not everybody. And that's where the PLC comes in before again, where everybody needed to be involved, not just like a particular group, by just meeting, by saying, what, this is what our problem is. We're all going to do this together. You choose if it's a grade level wise, EOG level wise, or high school or middle school. You can choose this leader, 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Here are the leaders that contact person. I did not saw that when I read the thing where, you have little groups or leaders within. So that was maybe a major mistake that he made, but overall he did well. And again, the data, we didn't have enough information to maybe just finalize everything, but whatever we had, we had to just say, he did good overall. And hopefully when we are in that space, we can maybe learn from what some of the things that he did or didn't do, so that we can become better principals too in the future.
Right. And then we don't even know, Rob, what his leadership program looked like, what his licensure program or his certificate program looked like, because some of the things that we're getting, he may not have gotten, in that particular program. They may not have equipped him with all the tools he needed in order to be, successful.
Yes. Anybody else want to do any final words? So we are done, but anybody else want to do any final words? Thank you. This was very informative. We use a lot of scholar. We use some key vocabulary. We talk about what we learned, in on our peers paper. We talk about what we learned throughout tasks 1 to 5. So it's great. And I wish you guys all the best for the APPSL coming up. And I know we're going to do well. I'm sure you guys did well. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can maybe just start 1 or 2 minutes after. All right. Thanks again for coming, and thank you for your participation. All right. Yes, guys. So how was did you guys submit your work? How was it? You did your final submission. That was good.
Yeah, I haven't looked at my feedback yet. I don't even know if I have it yet. Like, I know it took 48 hours or something at the most. Like, so do I just go back to turn it in and look at it, or does it come a generated response comes to email?
When you put it in, turn it in, your